Salut French students, ça va? Welcome to the first topic of our second week in chapter 1, le chapitre 1, and this topic is les descriptions des gens. Now, gens means people, so we're talking about descriptions of people. I'm using different adjectives to describe how people are. And you'll notice with all these expressions at the top here, that they all have something in common, right? So which words do you notice that are all the same? So each of these four expressions begin with the word je, which of course you probably remember from our previous chapter means I. So it's the pronoun in French for I. Suis, as you already learned a video or two ago, is just the form of être that goes with je. Je suis means I am in French. And the other thing I may have mentioned to you in another video is that just like we do in English with I am, when you're speaking quickly and you're with people you know very well, and I think even in informal situations too, we don't usually say I am. We kind of collapse that into the contraction I'm. And in French, they do the same. So je suis becomes suis. So if you hear people speaking and you're trying to keep up with the conversation, trying to improve your listening skills, you might listen for that. You're not really going to hear je suis from a native speaker. It's more likely to be suis. Like, je suis très jeune. So I did that here with the first expression. Je suis très jeune. So jeune means young. Vieux and vieille mean old. So I can say je suis très jeune. Très simply means very. So, je suis très jeune, I am very young. And that would probably be a better description for a child, like you see in the picture. The polar opposite of that would be je suis très vieux. So if you are a man, you would describe yourself with the word vieux. If you happen to be female, you would use the form vieille. So if you really drag out that pronunciation and pronounce all those vowels in that word, vieille. Okay, so there's lots of letters there, and basically that's how it sounds once you put them all together. So I am very old. No, I hope not. The next picture you see over here are two other opposites. So beau is the masculine form, which means handsome. Belle means beautiful for a woman. So you could say je suis très beau or je suis très belle. I'm very beautiful. You probably wouldn't want to say je suis un peu belle, which would mean I am a little beautiful. People probably wouldn't want to describe themselves that way. You probably would want to say, however, je ne suis pas du tout laide. Okay, so let's break this down a little bit. Laid is the masculine form, laide is the feminine form, and it means ugly. So if you remember, ne and pas make suis negative. So, je ne suis pas, I am not. Je ne suis pas du tout, I am not at all ugly. Je ne suis pas du tout laide. So I would feel pretty good saying that. So going on to the last expression, je suis plutôt ou assez. So plutôt and assez mean rather or pretty. Rather sounds a little more formal in English. We use pretty to in this kind of situation a lot more often, I would say. So, je suis plutôt intelligente, meaning I'm pretty intelligent. And notice, because I'm using the feminine form, that I'm putting the E on the end and I'm pronouncing that T. Je suis plutôt intelligente. Or je suis assez intelligente. Okay, and down here for intellectuel, this one is pronounced exactly the same in the masculine and the feminine, just the spelling changes. So, je suis plutôt intellectuel. Or if I am using the masculine form of intelligent, in that case I don't pronounce the T. So, je suis assez intelligent. And the opposite of that would be bête. So, not very intelligent. A little bit foolish, maybe. Okay, je ne suis pas du tout bête. Okay, so you can see we have different categories of adjectives and different ways to describe them. Okay, so going on to look at some other adjectives, all the expressions at the top are the same. So I can say, je suis très dynamique. Okay, I'm very active. Or, je ne suis pas du tout paresseuse, because I'm using the feminine form. If you're using the masculine form, it's paresseux. Okay, so paresseux, paresseuse, meaning lazy. Or je suis très sportive. I'm using the feminine form. If you are using the masculine form, it would be sportif. So sportif, sportive. Lots of other adjectives I have here to describe myself. I can say je suis plutôt intéressante. If I'm using the masculine form, intéressant. Okay, ennuyeux, ennuyeuse means boring. So, je suis plutôt ennuyeuse. I hope not. Je suis pas du tout ennuyeuse. Okay, or je suis amusante. Je suis marrante. So, meaning, you know, I'm amusing, I'm funny. And over here on the last set of adjectives, we have various forms for masculine and feminine too. So I can say, je suis assez bonne, I'm pretty good, meaning like, I guess, pretty well behaved. Or je suis assez bon, if I'm using the masculine form. If I want to say that I'm not very good, I can say, je suis assez mauvais or mauvaise. Hey, if I want to talk about my personality, I have a few adjectives to choose from here. I can say, je suis agréable, or désagréable, meaning friendly or unfriendly. Or je suis très gentil. And in this case, gentil are the same, masculine and feminine, just the spelling changes. So I'm nice. Je suis assez gentil. Je suis plutôt gentil. I'm pretty nice. Then we have this word méchant or méchante, which means naughty, not very well behaved. So I could say, je suis très méchante. Yeah, I don't behave well at all. Sympathique or sympa. Sympa is going to be more common. It's like the shortened form of this word, and it just means nice. Like, je suis très sympa. I'm really nice. Je ne suis pas du tout sympa. I'm not nice at all. I don't think that's true, though. And then finally in that list we have antipathique, which would mean the opposite, not very nice. Okay. So the other way that we can use these adjectives is to make comparisons. So you could compare yourself to your best friend. So I might say, je suis plus dynamique que mon meilleur ami, or ma meilleure amie. So the spelling changes depending on whether we're talking about a male or female best friend. So je suis, I am, plus, so more, dynamique, you know, dynamic, active, que, than, mon meilleur ami, my best friend. So notice the words that we really need to be concerned with here are plus que, which means more than. Je suis plus dynamique que mon meilleur ami. If I'm talking about my female friend, je suis plus dynamique que ma meilleure amie. So even though meilleur ami are pronounced in the same way in their masculine and feminine forms, mon or ma shows the difference when you're speaking. Mon means my in the masculine form, ma means my in the feminine form. Okay, another pair that we can look at here is aussi que, which means the same as something. So je suis aussi sportive que mon meilleur ami. I am just as sporty as my best friend. Or the masculine form, je suis aussi sportif que mon meilleur ami, or ma meilleure amie. And finally, we can be less than someone or something. So, moins que. And you might remember moins from telling the time, like il est 10h moins le quart. So that would be 9:45 or 15 minutes before 10. So, je suis moins timide que mon meilleur ami. So I am less shy or timid than my best friend, or ma meilleure amie. So if you remember plus que, aussi que, and moins que. So more than, the same as, and less than. Okay, and just a few more adjectives here. D'autres adjectifs et le comparatif. So what we're learning in this section also is about adjectives and also making comparisons. So this is just a list of, kind of all the different forms that some of these adjectives can take. So we can start by looking at the masculine singular forms, like paresseux, canadien, sportif, intellectuel. When we put them in the plural, not that much really changes in terms of pronunciation, but in spelling, yes. So paresseux is the same. Canadien, we add an S to show that it's more than one, but the pronunciation is the same. Sportif, add an S, but the pronunciation is the same. And intellectuel, the same. We just add an S, but the pronunciation remains the same. Okay, if we take a word like paresseuse, so paresseux in the masculine becomes paresseuse in the feminine, and we add an S to it to make it plural, and it sounds the same. Paresseuse, paresseuse. Okay, canadien becomes canadienne in the feminine, and we add an S to it, which makes it canadienne, but it sounds exactly the same. Okay, sportif, of course we have seen already, that becomes sportive, and it's the same in the plural. The spelling changes, but the pronunciation does not. And finally, intellectuel, this word actually doesn't change in pronunciation in all its forms. So intellectuel, 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 et intellectuel. So only the spelling is going to change. One thing that's kind of interesting to note about sportif and sportive is that the F and the V, I'm just labeling them the way that we know them in English, they're actually very closely related sounds. F and V are formed in the same way in your mouth, so you have to put your teeth on your bottom lip, and you kind of force air through your mouth to make both of those sounds. So for F and V for V. And the only difference between those sounds, they're formed in exactly the same way. The only difference is that for V, you are voicing your throat. So your voice box, your vocal cords, your vocal folds, whatever you want to call them, they vibrate for the V sound, but they don't for F. Otherwise, the sounds are identical. So it's kind of interesting to know that. And it's interesting to note that the voiceless form of that sound is the masculine one, and the voiced one is the feminine one. So who knew? Pretty interesting. Okay, so I think that covers everything for this video. For the next video, we're actually going to be moving on to looking at other adjectives in the comparative. So we'll continue that topic next time, and we'll move on to other good stuff in the rest of the week. So I wish you all a good night. Bonne nuit!